The latest on the situation involving Aaron Rodgers and the New York Jets. Robert Saleh talked about how having a guy like Aaron Rodgers wanting to play for them shows just how far the organization has come. And he wanted to point out that when he first got there, the idea of a great player like Aaron Rodgers wanting to even play for the Jets wouldn't have even been a possibility. Like, they wouldn't have even entertained the idea. But it just goes to show you that times have changed. The Jets are a potential landing spot now for big-time names just like Aaron Rodgers. The only problem is the trade hasn't actually happened. So we're still in a holding pattern, and we're still sitting around, and it's like Alan Lazard and all these other moves are being made. Everybody's talking publicly about the deal, yet the deal still hasn't been made. So we await the eventual, arrival of Aaron Rodgers with the New York Jets. Although, personally, for entertainment purposes, I hope the Jets figure out a way to butcher this whole thing because I think it'd be funny to talk about.
But they won 7 games last year, right?
Yeah, something like that.
They finished last in their division,
yes.
Right? Oh, okay. I mean, I know they've
come a long way. You know?
I mean, geez, if that's coming a long way, golly.
If Nathaniel Hackett isn't there, is this as attractive to Aaron Rodgers?
No,
probably not.
Yeah, I think that's just very misleading for him to say this is as far as this is where we've come. Like, I think they got some fine roster moves, 100%. I think that. You have a pretty good coaching staff, 100%. But to say this is how far we've come, what are you basing that off of? I would be curious to know what he was basing that off of.
Maybe that they're not picking in the top 3 anymore. Like it seemed like they were for a while. Like, just
And now the 13th overall pick is so coveted for them after having so many top 5 picks. Now they can't part ways with number 13, apparently.
And now they picked up another second-round pick when they traded Elijah Moore last week, and so people are saying, well, that's another move that could be more draft capital they could use to get Rodgers. If Rodgers tells me I'm coming there for 2 years, I'll gladly give up the 13 pick.
I remember when I was in high school once, I met this girl, and I liked her a lot. Like, I was very, very like enamored by her. And some way, somehow, I was introduced to her, and we started talking. And I started telling all my homeboys, like, I got a new girlfriend. Like, it's like, I got this deal, and I was happy about it, and I was almost a tad bit braggadocious because that was the best I had did up to this point, if you know what I mean. And I said something on a phone call, and this was, I think cell phones were just coming around. I think this was still on the house phone. I said something, and it probably came across as like arrogant or kind of like conceited or whatever, and it kind of like messed things up. And I didn't know we weren't further along than what we were. I thought we were actually in a committed relationship, which I never asked her out to be my girlfriend officially or anything like that. And it had never materialized, but I didn't know it until I guess a few days after this call. I stopped hearing from her, and then I didn't hear from her at all. And then it was like kind of like, what happened? What's wrong? This, that, and the other. The point of the story is that I started telling everybody that she was my girlfriend, and she wasn't even my girlfriend yet. I didn't have the commitment. We didn't have the connection.
But you're the North Hills Hammer. How could she not be infatuated?
Well, it just didn't work out the way that I thought it would work out. And this is what I'm getting vibes that this is you're talking about a girlfriend that you don't have yet. Like, under promise, over deliver. Like, don't say a gosh darn word about Aaron Rodgers anymore until he's a New York Jet. You know how much damage you're potentially doing? How do you not realize how much like, to even say what you said, like, there's no harm in saying this is how far. I mean, other than you're delusional because you were last and you won 7 games. Other than that, there's no harm in saying how far you've come or what you think your organization looks like now. But man, get the deal done before you say anything, especially if I'm the Jets or if I'm the head coach. Like, even if I'm the head coach, I could say, well, other people handle these matters. I'm just trying to make sure I can run my team the best that I can. Like, you're talking about a girlfriend that has not even become your girlfriend yet. I just don't know. I don't know. I just got my spider senses is going off. And I know that everybody's saying this is an all but done deal, that he's going to be a New York Jet. But, man, what if this thing falls apart? What if it falls apart? What are you going to do if you're the New York Jets? You go with Zach Wilson, which, I mean, maybe that's what it is. But look at the damage that you're doing. Like, you're talking about a dude that isn't even on your team. Talk about Zach Wilson. Keep talking. You talked enough about him during the season. Keep talking about him now. Where are you coming out of silence for to talk about Aaron Rodgers and how far y'all have come, and that's why Aaron wants to come here? Like, come on, man.
You know what I found interesting is I heard someone mention to me that the Zach Wilson camp may want like the Jets have to kind of be careful about how they handle this because the Zach Wilson camp may want to be traded. I'm like, yeah, of course they would. Like why would you want to hang around for 2-3 more years and not play? And even though you're sitting behind Rodgers, which is great, but he's trying to win a Super Bowl. Like, he's not there to mentor you. And meanwhile, you're watching your career go by. Other guys get drafted, start, play, and you become an afterthought. I look at this and think, I don't know when and if it's going to happen, but I still think Zach deserves a fresh start somewhere else. It would give the Jets more draft capital. And on top of it, maybe it's one of those pieces that helps you, put a package together to go get Aaron Rodgers. Like, that's the reality of where we're at this point. But
it's the weirdest trade, but not quite a trade that I can recall because everybody involved, the Packers, Rodgers, the Jets coaches, Jets players, everybody's saying, we want to be elsewhere. We want to get it done. And we're just still sitting here waiting on somebody to actually come up with enough compensation. And there was some stuff that came out last week that said, well, they'd be willing to wait all the way up until the draft. Okay. So, I mean, we're going to play this game at some point. Don't you just want to kind of move forward? Like, I just like to know what's happening here. And like I said, if it was, hey, give us the 13 overall pick, and Rodgers is yours. And if Rodgers gave me some sort of an indication or a promise that said, I plan on being here 2 years, this isn't just for a 1 year, I could understand them wanting to put up a fight if they said, this is just for a 1 year deal. We don't want to give up the number 13 overall pick. We feel like that's too steep. But if he tells you he's going to be there for multiple years, just do the deal and move on. I don't get it.
Let me ask you guys this. Who are they going to get at number 13 that's going to help to win a Super Bowl more than Aaron Rodgers?
Nobody.
Yeah, I don't think so.
So if that's where you're at, if that's what you're trying to accomplish, part ways with it. You have plenty of other draft capital. It's so weird to me, too. I was talking with a former Jet about this, and he's like, no way, man. 13th overall pick's so valuable. I'm like, valuable for what? Like what are you going to spend that pick on? He goes, an offensive lineman. I go, that's going to help you win a Super Bowl. I go, your biggest issue is quarterback. You have a quarterback that's a Hall of Famer that wants to come play there. And you can't part ways with the number 13 overall pick. You're acting like you're drafting the top 5 again. It's not the same. And on top of that, you look at it and you go, like, when you trade anything to be able to have the shot of being in the playoffs and a chance to win a Super Bowl, like the Tampa Bay Bucks had when they got Tom Brady, you trade anything for that.
Yeah.
Even though after that, nothing really came about. They didn't win another Super Bowl. They probably weren't even a serious contender after that. But it doesn't matter. They got their Super Bowl. Like, at the end of the day, like, that was worth all of it and anything afterwards. And if you're the Jets, you'd have to think that, yeah, I'm willing to give up the number 13 overall pick and have a shot for 2 or 3 years of seriously contending for a Super Bowl.
Yeah, especially in the AFC. It feels like, and look, They had a promising year. We talked about it at the time when the injuries they suffered at O-line and at running back, the game against Denver, everything sort of fell apart there. I look at it and go, if I'm Robert Saleh, if I'm Joe Douglas, if I'm the organization, and I know the clock's ticking, and I roll out another 7-win crap bag because we were too busy haggling over a number 13 overall pick and we haven't figured out the quarterback spot, everybody's gone. So just do the deal.
You got to believe that's the biggest piece of it, right? I mean, you got to believe that's the biggest piece. Is it self-preservation here, or is it, what's your motivation?
You don't think Woody Johnson stepped in and said, no, we're not giving up the number 13 overall pick?
Or
you need to figure out.
Or somebody that Woody trusts is saying don't do it.
Because I can't imagine that Joe Douglas and Robert Saleh have a problem giving up the 13 pick if they can land Aaron Rodgers. Like I wonder what is the real issue?
It was like breaking news on our show when Albert Breer said it. It was like, that's shocking news. Like, you're not going to give up a first round. Like the Rams gave up 2 to get Stafford. You know what I mean? Like, you don't think A-Rod is worth 1? Like one first round draft pick? 1. I don't know. I just think that this is New York Jet business. Like, you can't figure out how to get the trade done, but you're talking about A-Rod like he's already there. You're talking about how good your team is and how far you've come, but you're last place in the division and you won 7 games.
Great.
I'm just trying to how the hell do you connect these dots in the equation of things that are going on with the Jets right now? Like, how you do it?
Oh, it's great.
Please help me.
Yeah, it's tremendous stuff.